Parrots, where are you, Parrots?
This is Ushi Miller's.
Working on a light fixture.
Is Ushi Miller's cousin?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They're cousin to the Ramar and David, yeah.
That's so?
I remember exactly how, but they were cousins.
You learn something new every day.
Okay.
Aaron Kaplan, I saw your shul from the window tonight. It's looking very nice. Can't hear me. Did he hear me?
You were on the block today?
I was in the house in the back, and Aaron Kaplan's matching his backyard, and I saw the shul. So that's all.
What happened, Yaakov?
I went to look at some doorways, and what's the name? He just bought the house.
Oh, my quarantine neighbor, my minion, no?
Yeah.
Zucker.
Yeah.
Yaakov, you didn't come by say hello?
I didn't know you have to go around the block, no?
Yeah.
He told your cousin Aaron he wouldn't go into a different shul.
Yeah. I hear. Is there a way to get there? He's got to go all the way around the block.
No, but he's davening from his backyard because he's in quarantine now.
Oh, yeah, he's in quarantine? That's a good thing because I was in his house.
He's in quarantine. He's davening there in Shana.
I hear.
And people don't tell you this beforehand?
I guess
No
not.
sense to me.
What a disgusting chutzpah.
They want human interaction. They're gonna do anything for that.
I don't understand.
He's not in quarantine. I don't know what you're talking about. He's been out of the house and going back and forth. I don't know. Maybe now, maybe he's out already.
Maybe he's out, but Yom Tov he was definitely in.
Oh, that could be. I don't know.
You can
I heard
ask
him.
him,
a whole million people there.
Horowitz.
I heard him davening behind me, yeah. It was hard to pay attention to that unbelievable Baltfiller we had for Shabbos because that guy was making noise behind me.
Oh, look at that plug right there. Look at that. Marchuk is glowing.
Big nachas. Yaakov Meir hit it hard.
Yaakov, you should just know that Yaakov Meir Kanai Hara.
Yeah, I was wondering. I didn't want to ask. You know what I mean?
No. The guy, I get 10% of every signing bonus that kid ever gets.
Oh, there you
Why are you
go.
laughing, Marchuk?
I'm
getting-
thrilled.
You're getting 10% of his father's. You're getting 10% of his father's bonus, so you're getting.
Well, things about it when it comes to Geya, which I imagine will be soon.
It's a shame. But he's booked for Yom Kippur. He'll be on Harris Street. Anybody wants to come and join us?
Yeah.
Okay, I would love to.
No. Yaakov, should we hit the record button again?
I still would love to. I ain't denying that.
By the way, you would appreciate his badin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, we'll have to record it.
Yeah.
He was very proud to say that a bunch of the approaches he did was a Tzvi Yaakov special.
Otaka? All right. Then I get a signing bonus too.
There you go.
One second, Tiago, I can be made that is true.
Okay, so I get a signing bonus.
Boy, we're splitting up this pot many ways here, Marcha.
Maybe we'll leave a couple of bucks for him.
Yeah.
The Icar is in the Tfilas should be Niskabel, that's all.
Amen.
Hopefully we have a new chazan this year and he does a better job than we all did last year. That's what I have to say. Right?
You know something we don't, the new chazan?
What?
Think about it for a minute, Aaron. Aaron, think about it for a minute.
Oh, right. That was me.
No, it wasn't you.
I just got
it. No, just saying, this year was a rough year, you know what I mean? So hopefully this new chazan, bring a little freshness to the Tfilas, this department.
Oh, geweldig.
Okay, so let's see. So we're on Mem Gimel Amud Beis. Yeah, towards the bottom of the Amud. Just the chazan from yesterday, where the machlokes if you're allowed to carry on the boat, on the ship, right? If the ship's going out of the Techum, so the machlokes is on the ship. Does it apply if the ship is moving or only if the ship is standing in one place? And then we had is there an issue of Techum above?
Where are you starting from? Oh, you're reviewing. You didn't start yet. Okay, just before you start, let me know.
Is there an Isser of Techum above 10 Tvachim with all the proofs from Eliyahu Hanavi and the shade? Oh, so I found some cipher. He had said it over one of the Magidei Shir on the All Daf. Rabbi, I forgot, from Eretz Yisrael. Reuben, whatever. One of the rabbis.
Rabbi Rosner?
Rabbi Rosner said over this Chassam Cipher, and I think Aaron Zwag, I think you were mechavan to it. Basically, he brings the Prima Godim in Hilchas Shabbos, asks the Kasha, how could Eliyahu Hanavi come to the bris on Shabbos? Right? The Moyel says Eliyahu Malach HaBris, etc., etc. How could he comes to the bris? So he basically says the teretz that there's two Eliyahu Hanavis. There's Eliyahu Hanavi that was nifter, who really never was nifter. Right? That meaning his neshama is floating around. That doesn't have to keep halachas. And then you have Eliyahu Hanavi when the lost at love, then he's going to have to keep halachas. Sort of what I think what the Olam was saying. But he also did bring the Torah. The Chassam Sofer brings the Torah that says, why do we sing about Eliyahu Hanavi on Motzei Shabbos? Shulchan Aruch, if I remember correct, doesn't bring it, but the Torah brings it. Right? What's this miras Eliyahu Hanavi? Because Eliyahu Hanavi can't come Friday and Shabbos like we saw yesterday. So since he can't come Friday and Shabbos, but he's back in the game on Motzei Shabbos, so therefore we sing about him, because now we had 2 days off where he couldn't possibly come, and now he can. So that's why we sing about Eliyahu Hanavi on Motzei Shabbos. That was
that's the only reason?
Yeah?
That's the only reason?
I don't know if that's the only. I'm sure there's a lot of reasons, but that sure sounds like a good reason to me.
If you have a reason, say it. You know.
No, I will tell you, Aaron, though, I was listening to Rabbi Rosner today. He brought down what you said yesterday about the the animamins.
That what?
What Aaron said yesterday about the animanims, that the Mashiach can come any day. How can it come any day? We said it can't come on Friday or Shabbos.
Oh, he said that? And what did he say a pshat?
No, he didn't say pshat, but he mentioned, I think the Rishonim Achrayim bring it down.
Yeah, very interesting. I forgot about that kasha. That was a good kasha, Doc. I forgot about. Sorry about that. Sorry, I forgot that one. Maybe
I was thinking about you, Aaron. When I come off the train, I was listening to it. I was thinking about you. I said, Aaron has.
Very good. Yeah. Okay, and then on Amud Beis was Gamliel's and all his tools, and now we're up to, that's what we're holding. So today, basically, we're discussing making mechitzas and temporary mechitzas, and how, if temporary mechitzas are a good mechitza or not, it's involved with sukkah. That's basically what the Gemara is going to be focused on. So we are, Naftali, now you can start listening. It's around 10 lines, 7, 8 lines up. Nechemia braid the Rav Chaniloi. Yeah, have it?
Yes, and I was listening the whole time.
I know. I'm kidding around. You just said you wanted to know when we start.
How come he's not in front of you?
Oh, don't ask. We won't have a shir for the rest of the night.
Sorry, bite there. Sorry.
We're trying to learn.
We're
trying to learn now, Shmuel David. We're trying to learn. Okay.
It has to do with Corona, put it this way, but nobody has it, Baruch Hashem. But well, I guess ultimately down the line, somebody has it somewhere. That whatever. Removed. So he's being very responsible. So he's staying home. That's basically the short. That's the short and the long of it. Yeah. Anyway, so Nechemia Berei the Rav Chaniloi, right? Mashachte Shmaitza. So he must have been a Eliezer fellow, this Nechemia ben Rav Chaniloi, and he found himself out of the Techum, right? Mashachte Shmaitza. His Shmaitza, what he was learning, pulled him out for Nafak Chutz L'Tchum, and he went out of the Techum. So now what? He's stuck out of the Techum. So Amar Rav Chisda Rav Nachman, Nechemia Talmidcha Shari B'tzar. Nechemia, your Talmud, is in pain, right? Because he's stuck, right? And all he gets to move is 4 Amos, and he's out of the Techum. Amar lo yaseh lemechitza shel bnei adam v'yikonos. What we're going to do is we're going to make a mechitza of people, and he is going to let him go that way, right? Meaning, because we've been learning that if you're stuck inside a mechitza, according to Rabbi Gamliel, right, then you're allowed to move around that whole mechitza. So what he said is, go put people around him. Then he's going to be in a mechitza, and then he's allowed to walk that whole mechitza. And if that mechitza ends up back in his tchum, so now he made it back into his tchum, and then he could walk all through his tchum, right? A very big chiddush.
Yeah, but how are they allowed to do that on Shabbos?
Oh, exactly what. Yeah, so we're going to discuss that on Amud Aleph. Yeah,
See,
Shlomo, very good, Simon. Yeah.
which one? I was thinking, could it be that we have this thing about the names that I told, me and Rachman with the names? So
Right.
could it be that he was named Nechemia because he was so close to his Rebbe? His Rebbe was Reb Nachman, and they gave him such a name? Like
I hear.
the nickname
hear.
of his Rebbe?
I hear. I don't know. Very good. Maybe. I hear that.
Does this type of eitzah work for like carrying?
Yes, so we're going to discuss it. We'll discuss it.
So you could have done
later.
this on Erev Shabbos when your ear fell down. You just made a little.
We could have made it just a human chain.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's one or two caveats that make it that you can't really, but we'll see. So let's see.
Where are we holding exactly?
Right now we're 5 lines up from the bottom of Mem Gimel Amud Beis. Right, so he went out of the Techum. So his Rebbe, Reb Nachman, gave him this eitzah, call around all the Bachrim, or whoever, stand around and make a fence. That fence will lead into the Techum, and he could walk through the fence, and then the human fence, and then that's it. So Yosef Reb Nachman bar Yitzchak, Achuri de Rava. Reb Nachman bar Yitzchak was sitting behind Rava. Yosef Rava kamed de Reb Nachman, and Rava was sitting in front of Reb Nachman. Amalei Reb Nachman bar Yitzchak le Rava, Mai kami boile le Rav Chisda. Right? What was the question for Rav Chisda? Yeah, meaning what was Rav Chisda asking to Rav Nachman? Right? If you're going to say that there's enough people to go all the way back, Malu Gavri, I mean it's enough full people becoming Bailei Hilchos Rabbi Gamliel, and his question was, is the halacha like Rabbi Gamliel? Right? That holds that once you're in a fence, you could walk all the way around that whole fence. Yeah, or now we're on Talmud Aleph. Ein halacha Rabbi Gamliel, or the halacha is not like Rabbi Gamliel. Meaning he had no problem with the human fence. His only question was, do we hold of this din of Rabbi Gamliel that if you're within a fence, you get to walk, that whole area? Dilma, or do we say that B'daloi Malu Gavri Askina, we're talking about where there's not enough people there. The coming by halacha Rabbi Eliezer, or Ein halacha Rabbi Eliezer, is the halacha like Rabbi Eliezer or another Rabbi Eliezer, which Rabbi Eliezer we're going to see in a few blocks. That he holds that as long as you get within two Amos of your Techum, then you're good to go. You can go back in, right? So, and I guess this would have led to two Amos within the Techum, yeah. So, and that would be enough. So that was basically the Shaila, and he wasn't sure. So he went to Rav Nachman, and Rav Nachman told him what to do. Yeah. So that's the question. So Pshita. So the Gemara says, Pshita, the B'daloi Malu Gavri Askina. We're talking about where there were not enough people. Right? And he's asking about Rabbi Eliezer's 2 Amos din. As if you think that it's talking about where there's a lot of people, Mighty Boile, what's the question? There's no Shaila. Rav said that Allah was like Rabbi Gamliel in a what do you call it? A corral and on a boat. There was never any shaila. It's for sure talking about where there were not enough people, and he's asking a shaila about Rabbi Eliezer. But theoretically, if there would have been enough people to lead him back into his Techum, then he would have done pashut that it would have been okay. Now, there's an interesting Tosfos. The bottom Tosfos asks a question. Right? He says, even if they wouldn't have had enough people, why don't you just make a train? Right? Meaning, let's say you have 10 guys, so you put 5 guys on one side, 5 guys on the other side. Let him walk up to the edge of those 5 guys, and then let them move over. Right? Let the back 4 guys move onto the other side of the 4 guys. Right? Meaning, let him walk. Make a fence. Let him walk through that. Let's say I don't know what's a mushal. Let's not a great mushal, but Nebuch when after a levaya, we should never know from it. Right? So they make shooters. Right? So the havelim go through the shooters, right? And you're trying to get these guys back to the Techum. So make a shura, right? And when the person going out of the Techum gets to the end of the shura, let the shura move on down, and let him continue walking till you get all the way into the Techum.
They have to be surrounded.
What? Yeah, so good. So you surround him, and then he comes to the edge, and then you move it down. Yeah, that's sort of I'm saying. The shura doesn't have on the end, so you make sure you put one guy on each end.
All of these guys have to be able to walk to this. This is part of their Techum. Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very, very good point. These guys can't walk out of their Techum for this. That they must have had a further Techum than him. Yes, that's a very good point. Right? So the problem. So okay, we'll see as the Gemara goes by. That's Taisus Kasha. When we get to the teretz when we get to the Gemara that's negated to his teretz, we'll say the teretz. Fine. Okay, back in the Gemara.
Does the Techum apply on Yom Tov or just on Shabbos?
Yes. No. Yom Tov applies.
Because it really could happen in a Levaya. Don't they have in Eretz Yisrael second day Yom Tov? They have Levayas on Yom Tov.
Yeah, but I think the Beitz HaKvaris are within.
But
the
it's
Techum.
not. It's not Yom Tov, second day Yom Tov by them.
Well, I mean, do they do Rosh Hashanah?
No, what I'm saying is it could happen in such a.
You're saying an American in
scenario.
Eretz Yisrael, maybe an American in Eretz
Right.
Yisrael. So, yeah,
I'm saying your case of a Levaya could be Lamaisa in there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that could be. Yeah,
And so, Yaakov, you could also learn there's another story. I don't know the whole story, but if you remember to Yudi Wiener, ask him. He had a Levaya, Rosh Hashanah in Yerushalayim, with everybody going with the. He has a great story. It's from 55 years ago, but it's a great story.
okay.
Yeah.
If I bump into him, I haven't seen the guy in years, but I don't know.
But he has.
You know, I'm going to see him tomorrow. You know that. All right. Okay, I won't be able to see if he's wearing a mask, but fine. But
Every now and then you can find them on the boardwalk.
yeah. Okay, maybe I'll have to go to the boardwalk. Okay. Anyway, so let's see weiter. We'll get back to this kasha from Tais. This is Dekanami, the Karma Le Yikones. All right, so now this is a diktuk raya. So make a diak that's the case because it says Yikones. Right? What did Reb Nachman tell Rav Chisda? You know, put the people there, and then he should go in. Right? Why do you have to say Ma Yikones? What does it mean by he should go in? Lav b'loy mechitza. Doesn't it mean that he should go in without a mechitza? Right? Even though there's no mechitza there. So it means it's mashma, like even though there's no mechitza, but he's within 2 Amos, so therefore we're going to allow him to go in within those 2 Amos. Okay, fine. So now we analyze all this case. Eiser of Nachman by Yitzchak l'Rava, Nafal Daifna. Let's say the wall of the sukkah falls down. Lo yamid ba'adam behema v'kelim. A person cannot put behema or kelim there as the third wall or fourth wall. Right, whatever. I guess it would be a third wall. We'll see later that. Lo yiskef as amita, or you can't take a bed and stand it up, lifras ala sadin, and then spread a sheet over it, right? And then you have yourself a wall. Because you're not allowed to make an oil arai on Yom Tiv. We had this in Shabbos with this. And it goes without saying that you're not allowed to do it on Shabbos. Right, so what do you see? How can this is Simon's kasha? So how do you go take humans and make a mechitza, right? Simon, this is exactly what you're asking. We're saying right here, your wall falls down on your sukkah, so what are you going to do? Okay, put your dog. I don't know if you got to have a high dog. It's got to be 10 tvachim high. Okay, I don't know. A camel, a horse. You put your horse there, and or you stand up your bed and spread a sheet over your bed, and now you got yourself a wall. So you're not allowed to do that because you're not allowed to make oil arai. So how come you're allowed to do it with people? You're telling me from this brisa, I'll tell you from a different brisa. Right, a person can make his friend into a wall, right? Right, in order that he should eat and drink and sleep. We'll get back there in a minute. And he could stand up the bed and spread a sheet around it. Right? That's when we had this in Shabbos when it was trying to protect the mace. In order that the sun shouldn't fall on the mace.
He's not hanging a sheet over the person, right?
No, he's hanging a sheet over the bed.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, that's what he's doing.
For sukkah,
What?
are you not allowed to tell the person that they're doing that?
What do you mean for sukkah?
I mean,
For anything.
For the sukkah, that the person is going to be the other wall, right? But
Right.
he's not allowed to know that he's being that wall.
Well, we're going to see. We're going to see about that. Well, hold on. Yeah, very good. But anyways, whatever it is, we have 2 brises that are mamash stira to each other. So he wanted to bring a kasha from one brisa, and he's telling him, and he said, wait a minute, I have a brisa that says exactly the opposite. So which brisa, why are you asking from me on it? Yeah? The kasha, so down to but the bottom line is kasha adadi. It is a stira between these 2 brises. Yeah. So the Gemara answers like Kasha, Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbanon. One is Rabbi Eliezer, one is Rabbanon. It's non Pikaka Chalain. I don't know if the remembers this from Shabbos, but a window. You had that the thing that stuffs up the window, right? A Pikaka Chalain. Rabbi Eliezer.
Shutters.
What do you call them again? What was it?
Shutter.
I'm only getting the last half of what you said, but are you bringing a memory to me?
Shutter.
A shutter. Oh, shutter.
Oh, shutter. Is that what you said? Yeah, shutters. Right. Very good. So, thank you. So, when it's hanging with a string attached to the wall, so then you're allowed to take the shutter and close it. And if not, ain't piking about. You're not allowed to. Doesn't make a difference, and you're allowed to be piking it. Right, so you're allowed to stuff it up. So that would be the same thing. That would be the same thing here, right? So Rebbe Eliezer, who says, only when it's tied up, so it's gonna be the Bryce is gonna answer it because these things are not tied up. The bed's not tied up. The sheet's not tied up. Right? But the Chachamim are gonna be matir. Yeah. Then the Gemara says, but we learned that but it says everybody agrees that you're not allowed to make a temporary oil on Shabbos, on Yom Tiv, and goes without saying Shabbos. And the only machlokes is to add on that you're not even allowed to add on to an oil on Yom Tiv, and it goes without saying that on Shabbos. And Shabbos, you are allowed to add on Shabbos, and goes without saying that you're allowed to do it on Yom Tiv, right? So, meaning according to everybody, you're not allowed to make a new mechitza, and this is here we're talking about making a new mechitza when the either by the people or by the sukkah you're adding on a new mechitza. So therefore we can't be mechalek there. We pasken, by the way, you are allowed to be moisef on an oil, right, on Shabbos. That's why, that's the shlak, right? You have a shlak on your sukkah. How could you put a shlak on Shabbos? So really, those that have shlaks should have it open at tefach. Once you have it open at tefach, that's considered open enough, and then pulling it down is being moisef. The question is, can you be samech on the rolled up part of the shlak as being part of the cover?
This is where we discussed umbrellas? Is this the same time we discussed umbrellas?
The
strollers.
Umbrellas, strollers, all those things. As long as there's a mechitza of a tefach wide there, then we pass them like the chacham that you're allowed to. Right?
So you covered that already?
Yeah, we covered that already. Very good, doctor.
So if the umbrella was open before Shabbos, you could use it.
What?
So if the umbrella is open before Shabbos, you could use it.
Well, my umbrella was closed before Shabbos. That's why I was able to use it.
There you go. Right. So no, the umbrella you can't open, even if an umbrella opens on Shabbos, that's a new oil. That's a new oil, even though really it's not.
If it was open from before Shabbos,
It's having a hard time hearing you.
Hold on.
1 second.
Oh, that's better.
Better?
You're much better. Yeah, what'd you say?
Can't hear anything.
Now you can't hear. Be good for marriage, you know what I mean? When only one can go the other way. That's
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is being recorded.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sorry about that. So I thought if the umbrella is open before Shabbos, you're technically allowed to use it.
Yes, you're right. But technically, you are allowed to.
I was told in someplace in Europe, I forgot where it was, that the Goyim used to open up the umbrellas before Shabbos, and Jews used to walk around with umbrellas on Shabbos.
Is that so?
Yes. If we're not recorded, I'll tell you the rub.
Why do you need the Goyim to open it before? Can't the Jew just open it before?
No, because then you're making an oil. The truth is, it's very unclear why you're not allowed to use an umbrella on Shabbos.
And you said it's also different, a handheld versus like a patio.
Patio is more makel. Patio is more makel.
One thing, you're not allowed to make an oil before Shabbos, Yaakov? What does that mean? A guy is making the oil. If you're allowed to make, I'm not. What does that mean? I'm saying,
I don't know. When the guy is making it, I don't know. They must have had a heter for the guy.
But he said they made it before Shabbos. It was open before Shabbos. I don't know. They had them open before Shabbos, and they used to take them. Like they used to leave them out in front of the house for them. I don't know.
You see,
Did you just say more makel? I thought you said if it's in a base, a table, picnic table one in a base, you can open and close on Shabbos.
Yes, you can. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's more makel. Yeah.
Want to make sure that it is mutter, not that it's more makel.
Yes, it is mutter. It is mutter. And if not, you'll have your son daven for you on Yom Kippur, and you'll be all right. No, chas v'shalom, whatever. No, you should have your son. All right. So that the whole umbrella thing is very unclear. But whatever it is, so now we're back to square one. We don't have a teretz. One is Reb Meir, one is Reb Yehuda. Meaning again, we have a steer and brises. Whether if your wall of your sukkah falls down, if you're allowed to put up a temporary wall by standing up a bed or whatever it is. So he said, the Tanya asala behema daifan l'sukkah. You can make a behema as a wall to the sukkah. If you did, Rameir says it's possible. Rabbi Yehuda Masher Yehuda says it's kosher. So you see, it's a machlokes tonight. Rameir the kapasal hasam alma loy mechitzahi hachashari de la midi kavet. Over there that he says there it's a puzzle, right? Rameir the kapasal hasam. There, where Rameir says it's puzzle, there alma la mechitzi. Therefore, he says that it's not a mechitza. That's why he makes the sukkah puzzle. Hachashari, but here he's going to say it's mutter the la midi kavet because here you don't want to make a mechitza, right? Meaning, since he's saying that the human or the animal is not kosher for a sukkah, that means it's not a mechitza. So then, when you're using them to carry this guy back into the Techum, move this guy back into the Techum, so it's also not a mechitza on Shabbos. So then it's okay. The kamasher hasam alma mechitza, right? So there, where he says it's kosher sukkah, so here he's going to say it's asur. Fine, but Tizbra, is that so? Amos the Shamalei Rameir behema. He said it by an animal. Adam Kalim Mishamalei. Does Rameir say that a person and Kalim are going to be puzzle? Vasu, right? Who says? Right? Vasu Rameir Aliba Deman. Who's Rameir going with? Either Aliba the R Eliezer Lahaisif Nami Asa. If he's going to the R Eliezer, so adding on is also Asa. El Aliba the Rabbanon. And so he must be going with the Rabbanon who hold you are allowed to add on to an oil. But they only say to add on. They don't say lechatchila. No, it's both going according to they're both priced according to the Rabbanon, and that you're allowed to add on to a mechitza. And there's no stira from kelim to kelim. Habadaif and shlishis. One is talking about the third wall of the sukkah. Habadaif and revius. One is talking about the fourth wall. So the fourth wall is not a big deal because you don't really need it. That's not making anything kosher. The third wall is okay. So the Gemara says, it says the wall fell down. Right? So therefore, it's the nafal daifna, its wall is mashma, the third wall, because it was the fourth wall, wouldn't call daifna of the sukkah. The fourth wall is just an extra. It's not better to have a fourth wall, but it's not part of the ikar sukkah. So shmami no, so that's the case. Right? So, okay, so we still don't get to the teretz of Taisus. Now, just one interesting thing here, two interesting things here. So, just going back to sukkah, so here you have a makar that, what does it say by sukkah? When the sukkah fell down, what does it say? Where is it? So it says, the Gemara says, three things you got to do in a sukkah: eat, drink, and sleep there. Right? Rashi, if you look at the Rashi, 10 thin lines down, it's a very important Rashi there. He says, Ikar mitzvasa shel sukkah is begimel dvarim halalu. Right? The Ikar mitzvah of sukkah is these three things: to eat, to drink, and to sleep. That's what you're supposed to be doing in a sukkah. Meaning, it doesn't sound like Rashi is holding that you have such a mitzvah to hang out in the sukkah if you're not eating, drinking, and sleeping. Right? You say Rashi, I mean, the Gemara is masha like that. It says, but then Rashi, Ikar mitzvah shel sukkah to give dvarim halalu. The Ikar mitzvah is with these three things. Right? Because that's a big diyun in the Rishonim. Do you make a bracha on if you stam sitting in the sukkah? Right? This is why I personally gain a lot more weight than I normally would gain on a Yom Tov, because every time I go into the sukkah to be yaitza, right? It's not my zach. That's what the pasken say to do. you don't want any shaila. Anytime you go into the sukkah, you eat food, so you make according to all shittas, you make a leishe basukkah when you eat.
And
So
I say something with big chutzpah. I'm saying
ahead.
this with big chutzpah. Why don't you just stay in the sukkah? Why do you go out of the sukkah? I have to throw that. Sorry.
100%. I know what. Baruch Shekivanta, because this year, now that my mother has a Sefer Torah, we plan on davening in the sukkah, and it ain't gonna be an early minyan either, like we discussed, right? So
You could also eat celery sticks, by the way.
Why can't you wash in the morning and
You could
bench
also
at
eat
night?
celery sticks. Come on.
Yeah, Michael, that's the point. If you don't go out of the sukkah, you don't make.
Right, that's what he's saying.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
you wash in the morning, go in and out. You don't have to make right because you right.
Are you guys honestly? Are you depriving me of all my cake? Is that what the Olam's trying to do?
No.
Or you just put a
Listen,
sink in your sukkah.
You can have your cake and eat it too.
You could eat,
Very good. Very
you
good.
can eat your mother's. So like you said, you can eat your mother's cake, your wife's cake, and your
That's
daughter's
right.
cake.
But
100%.
the Mishnah directly says that the sukkah is supposed to be like your house, and you're supposed to basically forget about your house. So what's the shaila even?
No, because the shaila is what's the ikr mitzvah of the sukkah? What's the
No,
ikr
I'm saying,
mitzvah?
but about hanging out in the sukkah, whether it's ikr mitzvah or
You
not.
do
you're
have to,
supposed
but the
stay
shaila
there.
is, do you make a bracha on hanging out in the sukkah? Do you make a bracha? So I'll tell you, no, the big issue, I do try and hang out in the sukkah, but Lamaisa, you go to Mincha Ma'ariv, right? You come back 15, 20 minutes, a hefsek, right? Let's say, so Mincha is usually the issue. The Ma'ariv, you're making Kiddush anyways, usually. At least by Yom Tif by night. Or Shachris, you're going to make a Kiddush, you can make Kiddush, you're going to eat. But you go for Mincha, you come back to the sukkah, now you want to sit down, so you have a whole shaila. You're going to sit in the sukkah, but you got it, so it's better to have mezainis. Same thing with Havdalah, right? Havdalah, to have wine, you're supposed to make Havdalah in the sukkah, you have wine, so you're supposed to have, like I told somebody once, you have to have Havdalah b'makom suda. You got to make sure you eat mezainis together with the Havdalah so that you don't have any shilas in the brachas, right? Yeah.
But people make
okay.
a lay shave.
What's the
by
shaila with
Havdalah,
Havdalah?
right?
No, Havdalah is also, you're just drinking wine. Is wine enough to make a bracha?
Well,
Yes, Avada, you're supposed to stay in the sukkah the whole time. Just the shaila of the bracha.
You don't make
Shaila, when
a
do you
lay
make the
shave
bracha?
on wine?
Right, yeah, no.
Right, so you
Make
lay
a
shave
lay
on
shave
wine.
What do you have to mezainis?
What?
You make a lay shave on wine. What do you have to make a mezainis?
No, it's not so pashut. It's not pashut to make you. Not everybody holds you make a lay shave on wine.
Wine alone, you're saying?
Yeah, wine alone. Yeah.
Wine alone.
So that's what you have mezainis. So you don't. Again, we're looking by brachas. We always look to get out of the brachas. Get out of Suffolk, bro. Not to look. We don't look to get out of the brachas. We look to get out of the Suffolk brachas.
This is being recorded.
Yeah.
Can I ask a stupid question? So why phrase the bracha like that? Why not make a bracha al achilas b'sukkah, whatever?
Oh, now you're asking a good question, right? So what's the bracha leishiv? No, the mitzvah's to, right. It's a good kasha leishiv basukkah. You're supposed to sleep. You're supposed to sit in the sukkah. That's what you're supposed to do. You're right. But the shaila is what's the ikr yeshiva in the sukkah, right? Anyways, when I'm saying what comes out, it's an interesting thing also that it's actually more stam. A different thing is, so Rashi says is to eat, drink, and sleep, right? Which one is the most important? Sleep. Right?
Depends who you ask. Some people on this daf would say drink.
Very good. But for the sukkah, right? For the sukkah, what's more important? Eating.
You
in
drink
the
and then
sleeping.
you fall asleep.
That's true, but the bottom line is achilas arai in the sukkah, out of the sukkah is mutter. L'chol hadeis, achilas arai. Shinas arai out of the sukkah is asr. The post can even discuss, if you see a guy dozing off in shul, do you wake him up because he's falling asleep by his sefer? You're not allowed to. Shinas arai is asr out of the sukkah. And yet Shina we don't make a bracha on. Right? Well, it's very interesting. It's very interesting how it all works out with the Suffolk brachas. But okay. Anyways, let's see weiter. Now on to Mem Dalet Amud Beis.
Also, Rashi put drinking on this list, and we don't make a lay shave on
right,
drinking.
We don't make a lay shave on drinking.
There's really only one of those.
Correct. According to, but that's the most machmashita. There are other Rishonim that hold that you would. We just don't do it because of Suffolk brachas. That's all.
Got it.
Right. I don't understand, Gershon, what you posted over there. Same with the cross.
And why the bracha is leishiv basukah? It's because it says basukah's teshu shivas yom.
Oh, that's what you get. I didn't chap what he was answering. Oh, yeah, very good. Okay, so let's see. Ela adam adam kasha lemaisa. So we answered up the kalim stira, but you have a kasha from people, right? Meaning, can you use people as a mechitza or not? So adam nami loy kasha kan ladas kan shaloi midas. Oh, Uri, right? This is what we're getting at. One is talking about ladas. When the guy knows that you're using him as a mechitza of the sukkah, it's a no-go, right? Because he knows that he's being a wall, and now therefore we look at it like.
But
it's
by
a
the
legitimate
Techum it's
wall.
allowed. But by the Techum it's allowed if they don't know.
Oh, so we're going to get to that. And Chanami, kan shaloi das, and here it's talking about where it's not das. He doesn't know. You just ask him, hey, can you just stand right there for a minute or a few minutes, whatever, and then you sit down, you eat. Guy has no idea what you want, and then he moves. So then that would be okay, right? So Gemara asks, right? Exactly, your kasha. So it was ladas. So Gemara says, shalom das hava. No, it was not. The guys had no idea what they were doing. He just asked them to come around. I guess maybe he tried to. He said, let's huddle up around him.
What's the difference between das and shalei das? Rashi seems to imply it's because of
I'm very good with shalei das, Akiva. Das already.
No, I don't understand. The teretz of shalei das is because ain't derech binyamikach. Is it derech binyamikach to use human beings as walls?
I don't know. I know a lot of people that I talk to. It's like talking to the wall. Come try and get my kids to go to school. You know what I mean?
What about using a
Ask your kids to take out the garbage and they become like a wall.
Correct. Very good.
So I don't understand. All this is ain't derech binyamikach. So why shouldn't it be mutter either way? The whole reason why shalei das works is because it ain't derech binyamikach.
Correct.
Human beings are not derech binyamikach. We don't use human beings to build.
Neither are
Correct.
animals.
But I think theoretically, we don't use human beings because it's not I don't think it's going to be a very popular job to be a wall, right? But theoretically.
It's derech.
But no,
it's
only ein derech. It's only ein derech because the person chooses to do something else with his life other than to be a wall. No,
it's because human beings are not walls. I don't know what that means. Nobody. You can't really. First of all, you can't rely on human beings to be walls because they could walk away. I'm saying they need to go places. It's not derech binyamikach. I don't know why ladas makes that much of a difference when it comes to whether it's derech or not derech. It's not derech to use a human as a wall.
I understand. That's true, but there's two different things when it means not derech. Yes, granted, it's not derech to. It's not the derech to build with humans, but if a human chooses to be a wall.
If a person doesn't want to be a wall, but if he doesn't have the das, so you use him as a wall. He doesn't know the difference. What's the difference? He doesn't know.
Meaning that I think
we're saying the exact opposite. We're saying that if you don't have das, it's ain't derech binyamikach. If you do have das, then it is derech binyamikach.
Right, because a person could theoretically become a wall. They just choose not to. No? Can you make? I don't know. I hear what you're saying, but I think that's the pshat, man. That's only because a person is not going, you're not in a normal situation going to get the guy to be a wall, but theoretically he could be a wall.
Doesn't the Gemara also over there talk about that if you're using a human as a wall, they have to be strapped down? So how's a person who's strapped down not going to have the das that he's a wall?
I think I don't remember what the case was about having him strapped down.
Unless that's only animals, a human doesn't have to be strapped down?
I think it was animals. I don't remember. But then the Gemara asks, okay, let's see. The Gemara asks, Rav Chisda miya ladas hava. But Rav Chisda had das, right? He knew about it. Right? Rav Nachman told Rav Chisda to do this. So the Gemara says, Rav Chisda shleimin a minyan hava. Rav Chisda wasn't part of it. Right? Rav Chisda went to get everybody to stand around it, but Rav Chisda himself wasn't part of it because he knew about it. Right? So that goes back to the Tosfos when we said that you might not have enough people to get back to the Techum, and Tosfos asked, well, why can't the people rotate or move down with him gradually? So Tosfos says, yeah, but if you do that, I mean, then the guys are going to chop. the people, the guys that are doing this, if you do it twice, they're going to realize what's going on, right? So therefore, it wouldn't work. That's what Tosfos answers. So let's see. By Tahanu b'nei Ganana, right? So these gardeners, no, I think Ganana, were they gardeners? How did they touch this?
Oh, they were part of a wedding party.
Okay, I thought. Yeah. I mean, okay, yeah. Sometimes that's the way they touch a wedding party.
I have gardeners in the Daf Yomi.co.il.
Oh yeah.
Look at the Rabbeinu Hanan on the side.
Rabbeinu Hananel. I can't find it.
Rabbeinu Hanan probably didn't have the Daf Yomi in front of the.
Rabbeinu Hanan, 8 lines from the top.
8 lines from the top. B'nei Achuppah. Okay, I guess they're going with that. Oh, because they must be going. Art Scroll must be going with the Rabbeinu Hananel. We had Beit Ganana before, right? And we said that there were gardeners that were bringing hadassim, right? They used
We
hadassim.
called them canopy makers last time.
Canopy maker. Okay. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, whatever it is, people that were, the Ailu Maya b'mechitza shel b'nei Adam. What they did is they would carry water. They would make a wall of people, and they would carry water through the wall. Right? So now you see, not only did they do it, I forgot somebody just asked, right? Not only did they do it for Techum purposes, they did it for carrying purposes too. Right? So Nagdinu Shmuel and the Shmuel.
That's a bucket brigade. You have 20 guys in a row and you hand the bucket with each guy.
So the bucket's got to be instant, right? Yeah. So, Nagdinu Shmuel gave them makis. Amar im amru shalom midas yamru ladas. We said you could do this shalom midas. You can't do this midas. Right? Sounds like a classic case. The rabbi matters it shalom midas, and then everybody starts doing it midas. Right? Hanu ziki. And then we have the ziki. The have shadin beriskasa de mechuza. A flask, right? It was left in the riskata on the mechuza. Rashi says in the streets of the Rosh Hashanah Mechuzah, Bahadi the Asa Rava Mipirke, when Rava was coming back from his shir, Ailinu Nehele, that's when they carried it back. So meaning Pshat is that Rashi says that there were so many people walking Rava home from the shir, so that it created a wall, and then his shamish carried the bottles or whatever it was, the flasks back. The Shabbos Achrita Boya Alinu. The next Shabbos, he wanted to do it again. And he said, that's like das, and it's asa. This is very interesting. Because what do you mean das? The Bachrim were following him home, whoever, were following him home to ask him questions or whatever after the shir. They had no idea that this guy was carrying in between them. But he says that's a problem. Right? That's considered ladas. To do it twice. It's out. Basically, what comes out from the Gemara, well, let's just see one more. Levi, Ilule Tivna, they brought straw to Levi, and Ziri Asafsa, and they brought Ziri Asafsafa, that's the junk that the animals eat. Rav Simi Bar Chia Maya, and they brought Rav Simi Bar Chia water. Right? So now this, it sounds like that they did allow it. I don't know if this means it's lashon of b'diavad or not. Sounds like from this part that it's a lechatchila. But whatever it is, the Gemara before is saying that Rava did not allow it once. It was like a one-time deal that he allowed it. But anyway, so bottom line is what you see from this, and we pasken like this, by the way, that you can make mechitzas. You can make human mechitzas, but they have to not know. The mechitzas, the people have to not know what it is that they're doing. I think, I didn't look into this too much, but I think this is one of the heterim why you can sit down by hakofas in Yonah de Yomon, right? How do you sit down by hakofas? The Sifrei Torah out. We know that Allah is klar. Allah is klar by Simchas Torah. Anytime that a Sefer Torah is moving, you have to stand up. There's no head to sit down.
Holding a Sefer Torah?
If you're holding a Sefer Torah, you're sitting down. Even that's not so klar, but yeah, there were those, right? Who did that? Rav Steinman, I think. Rav Steinman, they said, did that, right? But the bottom line is one of the coolest that the Pais can bring is that since the people around the Torah create a mechitza, so therefore you're considering a separate reshus than the Sifrei Torah, and you don't have to stand up. I'm assuming that's based on this, right?
There's a Aruch HaShulchan about what he's saying, and he says that when the Sefer Torah is where it's supposed to be, you don't have to stand. Like the Sefer Torah is in Aron Kodesh, you don't have to stand. It's in Aron Kodesh. So by simplest Torah, the Sefer Torah is supposed to be amongst the people, so then you don't have to stand either. That's his cooler for not standing.
I think it was
Yeah, interesting. What do you say? What did you say?
It was Rabbi Yashiv. I think it was Rabbi Yashiv.
Rabbi Yashiv?
Yeah.
I can't imagine he stuck around Hakafas for long enough to. I imagine this Hakafas went pretty fast, but it could be. Anyways, but I think that's what it's based on. It's interesting in Shulchan Aruch because in the Shulchan Aruch, hold on a second. The Shulchan Aruch brings here in Shin Samach Beis in Hilchos Eruvin. You can have a space up to 3 tefachim in between each person, right? Makes sense. It's lovud, right? The guys don't have to be right up against each other. You can have a space of 3 tefachim between each other, right? So the Bir Halacha brings, but a person is each person's considered an amma wide, right? So you should be able to have more than 3 tefachim in between because it's going to be roiv mechitzas. If you have roiv of that side of and in an amma wide, so you have roiv mechitzas, right? So he says the feet. Okay, this is not negayah to my legs, but he said that the legs, right, are they're like konim ba'alma, right? It's like sticks. The legs are sticks, so therefore the legs are not an amma wide. I guess he's assuming these people have very thin legs, right? And the feet are not together, so therefore the bottom of the body. And the chanami, the top of the body would be easier to do, but the bottom of the body wouldn't be. Therefore, you have to make sure there's less than 3 tefachim in between each one, right? Yeah, so that's what he comes out. But Lamaisa, we pasken like this in Shulchan Aruch, so you could theoretically use this if you have enough people. You do it shalom midas, right? But
it sounds very fakey though, because so many times the circle opens up, or the Torah comes out of the circle. I mean, the people
that yes, it does. It's true. That's true. Yeah, when it comes out, you got to stand up.
I also saw Sefer Torah drop last year. I won't say which shul I was in.
Okay, that's
I did
always
fast.
good.
I did have to fast.
Oh yeah, good. Yeah. So he does say Shulchan Aruch does pasken though. If it's korav hadavar that the people know what's going on, then you can't do it. Sort of like the Ma'aser with Rava. Right? So meaning if it's korav hadavar that they chap what you're trying to do, then you can't do it, which is I think why we don't do this on Shabbos. But it would work for the Bachrim dancing. Have no idea. I can guarantee the Bachrim never learned Eruvin. So the Bachrim are usually the ones doing most of the dancing. Have no idea that you're using them as mechitzas to block you from the Sefer Torah. That's what I would think. Lanias Taiti. Okay.
I'm going to call them out on it this year. People who are sitting. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to call people out on it.
Yeah, Halavai, we're going to even have our coffers this year. I'll be happy if we have our coffers this year, right? Okay,
yeah,
so
6 feet is more than 3 tvachim.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see the Mishna, right? Let's go a little bit into the Gemara. So Misha Yatsa B'Rishus. Somebody went out. Now this is a major. This next Amud here is major sugyas based for Hatzalah guys, but I don't think Landau's on. I don't think so. I haven't heard him, right? So Misha Yatsa B'Rishus, somebody went out with Rishus from the Techum, meaning he was an emergency worker. Rashi says Leidus Achaydesh, or to be saved from the army or from a river, whatever it is, but emergency. And they already tell him once he's out of his Techum, they told him, they got enough Eidim already for the moon, or the emergency's over. He gets 2,000 amas to every direction. If he's still within his Techum, it's as if he didn't go out. Which we're going to see in the Gemara exactly what that means. Because if he's within his Techum, of course, why he didn't go out? It's as if he didn't go out. He didn't go out of his Techum. And then Kol HaYotzim Lahatzel, anybody that goes out to be saved, they're allowed to come back to the original place, which we're going to see what that means. But that's where It all starts with the Hatzalah guys being able to drive back on Shabbos, comes from this sugya, right? Because if you went out to save, then you can come back. That's what the Mishnah seems to say. Okay, so Zog the Gemara, so what does it mean if he's within the Techum? It's as if he didn't go out. If he's within his Techum, it's as if he never left his house. Pshita, of course he never left his Techum. So why? I mean, of course he could go to wherever he wants. Now the same okar. No, you would think that since he uprooted himself and he had das to go out of his Techum, so he's considered out of his Techum. Kamash Malan, that he's not, right? As long as he's still within his Techum, even though he planned on leaving the Techum, he's still considered like he's home.
Was Iker his Techum?
No, he was Iker his das.
He was Iker his das to...
Meaning the whole thing of Techum is based on where does your das to live for Shabbos. So he was home, and then once the emergency happened, he started leaving his home, and he left his home. So he was Iker his das, that his das is no longer in his home. So you would think, okay, so he only gets 2,000 Amos from wherever it is that he found out that the emergency is over. So saying no, he still gets his das from his original home. That's the Chiddush.
Did his Techum start from his house?
It did, but now he changed it because he was planning on leaving his house to go to an emergency.
He went from his house, from my house to Costco.
Right.
For an emergency. It's past the Techum, right?
Yeah.
Now, so once he goes to Costco for an emergency, you're going to say the Techum is from Costco?
That's what we would think.
Why?
Costco's still in his Techum. But maybe we would think that his new Techum is from Costco, not from his house.
Why would you say that? Because that's where he went for an emergency?
Yeah. Kamash Malan, that he still retains his original Techum. Right? That's what it's
his original Techum start from his house? Why should I?
Yes. So he gets his original Techum from his house, even though he's by Costco. Yeah, he gets back to his regular Techum. This is what it's saying. If the Techum that the Chachamim gave him is absorbed in his Techum, it's as if he didn't go for his Techum. Right? What does that mean? Mar Savar Havlas Techum and Milsahi, or Mar Savar La Milsahi. One says that two Techums overlapping each other is considered something, and one says it's not. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll have to take it up from there again.
Tiago, what does that mean? I know it's a new sugya. Just to clarify that last point, basically what the Rabbanan are really being masakin is more than 2,000 amas.
Yes,
if you hold up
yes,
so why would they do that? Meaning, effectively, they're saying you get more than 2,000 amas. Isn't that a chiddush to say that you get more than 2,000 amas?
Because they want people to go to Chas v'Shalom. There's an emergency. They want people to go there.
I think that's the svara behind it. Yeah, but if they overlap,
that's not the Gemara doesn't say because of that. It's not. The Gemara says Avla Techum and Milsi. It's a principle be a site. It has nothing to do with the fact that the Rabbanan want you to go back.
Right.
It's not out. It's not out. The Rabbanan wanting you to go back and forth. It's because they hold it's something. What does that mean? It's something.
Yeah. Meaning he's saying that once one Techum.
They didn't tell you can go there because you found out that somebody has a good kasha kanish. You can only go if there's an emergency.
No, but then the question is,
but the svar of the Gemara has nothing to do with that. The Gemara says because they hold
people, that's an emergency.
Wait a minute. He had a special dispensation because it was an emergency. There's no reason that the Techum should get uprooted.
Right. Well,
I don't know if this special dispensation is the Techum that they're giving him. It doesn't say Havlas Techum and Milsi is not because of special dispensation.
No. What do you mean?
What Akiva's saying is that the Gemara doesn't seem to say that it's because of the emergency. The Gemara seems to be saying that the reason is because if one person's Techum overlaps another Techum, then we combine the Techum and you'll get more than 2,000 amas. Not one person. Meaning, it can only happen in an emergency situation because how could a person have two
but the
different
Gemara
Techums?
is not saying out the fact that it's a special dispensation.
Right, but when else would you have a situation where a person has two different Techums and that one overlaps the other?
Why
Here,
not two
in a
different
Chanami,
tchums? You just have a big like Rishas HaYachid.
No, you
Mishnah-
have two tchums. You have the tchum. You have your original tchum from your house, and then you have a new tchum, right? You have a new tchum based on where you stopped by your emergency. So we're saying as long as your new tchum will get you into your old tchum, therefore you're allowed to go back to your original place, right? Let's say you went 3,000 Amos away from your house, and then they told you, by the way, we don't need you anymore. So now you get 2,000 Amos in all directions. So that 2,000 Amos will get you within 1,000 Amos of your house, which is within the original 2,000 of your house. So therefore that 1,000 you overlapped. So therefore you're okay.
You get an
That's what
extra
it's saying.
1,000. So you get an extra 1,000. You're saying.
Well, you can, in that example, you get an extra 1,000, but you can go up to 2,000. So theoretically, you can get 4,000 as long as they, part of the thing overlaps, then you're going to be okay.
That's still assuming that you're going to be that local. 2,000 Amos isn't very far.
No, that's true. You're right. It doesn't give you that much. It doesn't give
And
you
the
that
last
much.
few searches I've been on Yontiv, I was in Manhattan and Jersey and all over the place.
Right. Yeah. So that's look how the size of these Rashis, so you know that. It's another Gerson Rashi, so it's really not such not so different. Okay, whatever it is. That's okay. Tomorrow night, Bez Hashem, we'll see.
Why do Chassidim not allow pasken? They're not allowed to come back out of an emergency. Hatzalah.
Oh, so we're going to see on Amud Beis. That's going to be the whole sugya. Are we allowing an Issa D'Rabbanon or only an Issa D'Raisa? Are we allowing an Issa D'Raisa or only Issa D'Rabbanon?
But isn't that gonna inhibit their thought process of if they're gonna go, then they can't come back?
Well, that's the whole svara. But the question is that this svara to be matter. Hold on, I'm just reconnecting because my phone is dying. Hold on. Okay, sorry. You hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the whole svara to be matir tchilasa, Taisus is actually the one that quotes the Lashon, right? Seifon Meshum tchilason is because we only allow a D'Rabbanon for that, not a D'Raisa. That's going to be part of the big Shiloh. Shiloh is how Moshe Feinstein is going to learn it, that it's talking about even D'Raisas. It's really not Pashut at all, the way Ramosha learns it, that it even allowed, because driving a car is a D'Raisa. Right, so that's really going to be. I gotta look into the sugya. I can't say I'm holding it now, but hopefully by tomorrow night, in 23 hours from now, hopefully I'll be holding it a little more to get it. I gotta find the tubas.
Joe, is this a reason for the Hatzalah guys to drive Teslas?
It's funny. I mentioned it in a speech in Phoenix, and one of your for your mother's yard sites, and a guy came over and said no.
Or for Hatzalah?
No, we were talking about Stam, whether Tesla's and electric cars.
I think no. It was. You know what it was? It was your. I forgot the title for
the electricity
Shabbos the Shabbos project. I think.
Oh, right. So, but then the guy tells me, a guy came over to me and told me, no, even driving an electric car would be a deraisa. There are sparks. I had no idea what the man was talking about, but that's what he had said.
Like a what about a groma car? Like they have
and a Hanami, if you make a groma car, but they're not in Eretz Yisrael, they're more into all the groma stuff. In America,
that's
they're not
just
really.
A yeshivish car that you don't know if it's going to turn on or not.
Oh, that's true. I've driven a few of those.
There's your groma car.
It's like when the car drives, it's almost it's not even a meleches machshavas because you have no idea that it was going to do it or not. It's not even a psik resha. It's true, but I don't want that guy to come to be a Hatzalah guy either, though. So. Whatever. So yeah, we'll have to see tomorrow. Bez Hashem, the sugya.
Shikayach.
All right. Are you home? You're back. What are you? Quarantine? Not quarantine?
This is being recorded. No.
Yeah. All right. Whatever.
I quarantined for 2 weeks in the beginning of the summer. It was Gehenna. It's mamish.
Sure.
I see how people it could become suicidal. It's depressing. I went out, but people who stay home and do nothing, you could lose your mind.
Yeah. Then you could lose your mind. And